Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. What if one mistake, just one, could destroy everything you have built piece by piece until there's nothing left but the truth you tried to hide? Madison's life looked perfect on the surface in Fairmont Crest. She was the woman everyone admired. The one who always had a plan, always stayed composed, always knew exactly what she was doing. But behind that polished exterior, cracks had already begun to form. What started as small, seemingly harmless decisions slowly spiraled into something much bigger, something far more dangerous than she ever anticipated. It all unraveled when mysterious envelopes began appearing, each one exposing more of her hidden financial dealings. At first, she tried to ignore it, convincing herself it was nothing, but deep down, she knew someone was watching her. Someone who knew everything. As the pressure mounted, her carefully controlled world began to collapse. Investigators stepped in, rumors spread, and her closest relationship with Chelsea began to fall apart. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Madison discovered something shocking, evidence that suggested she wasn't acting alone. Someone else had been manipulating her accounts, setting her up. And that realization changed everything. The fear turned into anger, and the women who once tried to hide her secrets now had one mission: uncover the truth before it destroyed her completely. You have to imagine the weight Madison was carrying long before that first envelope even arrived. This wasn't just about money or transactions, it was about control. For years, she had built her identity around being untouchable, someone who could handle anything thrown her way. But the truth is, when you're juggling that many secrets, you are not in control, you are just delaying the inevitable. When the first envelope showed up, it probably didn't seem real at first. A plain envelope, no return address, almost too simple to be threatening. But the moment she opened it, saw those financial records, everything must have shifted inside her. That quiet panic, the kind that creeps up slowly and settles in your chest, refusing to leave. And still she tried to brush it off. That's what people do when they're scared. They minimize, they rationalize, they pretend it's nothing. But then the second envelope came, and the third. Now think about that for a second. Imagine waking up every day wondering that's what's going to show up next. What else someone knows about you? What else they're going to expose? That's not just fear, that's psychological pressure. The kind that eats away at you little by little. And the worst part, she couldn't tell anyone. Not Chelsea, not for her family, no one. So she started making calls, reaching out to people who operate in the shadows, the kind of people you only contact when things are really bad. But even they couldn't fix this, because this wasn't just a loose end, it was a full trail, detailed and deliberate. Whoever was behind this had been watching her for a long time. Meanwhile, Chelsea is watching all of this unfold from the outside, completely in the dark. She notices the late nights, the sudden disappearance, the way Madison clings to her phone like it's the only thing keeping her grounded, and you can almost feel Chelsea's frustration building. Because when someone you love starts pulling away, you don't just ignore it, you question it, you push for answers. And Madison, she shuts her down. That moment where she snaps, it's nothing you need to worry about. That's not just irritation, that's fear leaking through the cracks. And Chelsea senses it immediately. Because when you know someone that well, you can tell the difference between stress and something much deeper. Then everything explodes. The investigators walking into her office, that's the kind of moment that feels surreal. 1 second you are in control, sitting at your desk, and the next, your entire world is being dismantled in front of you. They're calm, composed, almost emotionless, and that's what makes it worse. Because while she is internally spiraling, they are just laying out the facts like it's routine. Transaction histories, mails, evidence stacked one on top of the other, and she tries to hold it together. Of course she does. That's who she is, but you can only pretend for so long before reality starts breaking through. When she says this must be a misunderstanding, you can almost hear the desperation beneath the surface because deep down she knows it's not. Walking out of that office, nothing is the same anymore. And then come the whispers. Fairmont Crest isn't just a place, it's a community. And communities talk. News spreads fast, especially when it involves someone like Madison. The same people who once admired her now look at her differently. Conversations stop when she enters the room. That shift, it's brutal, it's isolating in a way that's hard to explain unless you have felt it. And then the media steps in, turning her private crisis into public entertainment. Headlines questioning her character, speculating about her motives, reducing her entire life to a few dramatic narratives. That kind of exposure doesn't just damage your reputation, it changes how people see you permanently. Chelsea finding out through the media, that's the breaking point. Imagine the betrayal, not just the situation itself, but the fact that she had to learn about it from strangers instead of the person she trusted most. When she confronts Madison holding that phone with trembling hands, you can feel the emotional weight in that moment. Tell me this isn't true. At Madison, she hesitates. That hesitation says everything. That argument that follows isn't just about situation, it's about trust. Years of it shattered in minutes. Chelsea's pain is raw, unfiltered, and Madison's attempts to explain they fall flat. Because how do you justify something like that? How do you explain decisions that don't even make sense anymore? And then, just when everything seems completely hopeless, something changes. That unexpected transaction, at first it's confusion, then doubt, then realization. Someone else has been using her accounts. That moment is huge because suddenly Madison isn't just someone who made bad choices, she might also be a victim, and that shift in perspective fuels something new inside her. The fear doesn't disappear, but it transforms into determination. Now she's not just reacting, she's investigating, digging through records, analyzing patterns, questioning everything, and the deeper she goes, the more unsettling it becomes. Because the evidence doesn't point to a random outsider, it points to someone she knows, someone she trusted, and that kind of betrayal, it hits differently. It's not just about the situation anymore, it's personal. What makes this entire situation so powerful is how layered it is. On the surface, it's about financial misconduct, investigations, and public scandal, but underneath that, it's really about trust, control, and the consequences of living behind a carefully constructed facade. Madison's biggest mistake wasn't just the decision she made, it was believing she could manage them without consequences. That illusion of control is something a lot of people can relate to. You think you have got everything handled, until suddenly you don't. The impact on her relationships, especially with Chelsea, is just as significant as the legal consequences. Trust, once broken like that, isn't easily repaired. And even if she proves her innocence regarding the manipulated transactions, the damage has already been done. Then there's the betrayal aspect, discovering that someone close to you has been working against you. It changes how you see everything. It creates doubt, paranoia, and a deep sense of hurt that doesn't go away easily. And let's not ignore the public aspect. Being judged, criticized, and exposed on such a large scale adds another layer of pressure. It's not just about fixing the problem anymore. It's about reclaiming your identity in a world that's already decided who you are. Honestly, this whole situation is just heartbreaking to watch unfold. I mean, yes, Madison made mistakes, there's no denying that. But at the same time, you can see how everything spiraled out of control, in a way she never intended. And the betrayal, that's the part that really gets me. Because it's one thing to face consequences for your own actions, but finding out someone you trusted was secretly working against you, that's a different kind of pain. I also feel for Chelsea. Imagine loving someone, trusting them completely, and then finding out they have been hiding something this big. That kind of betrayal cuts deep, and it's not something you just move past overnight. But here's the thing, I don't think this is the end for Madison. If anything, this could be the turning point, the moment where she stops trying to control everything and starts facing the truth head on. So now the question is, what happens next? Will Madison uncover who's really behind this and clear her name? Or is the damage already too far gone to fix? And what about Chelsea? Can their relationship survive something like this? Or is it already beyond repair? I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Madison deserves a second chance? Or do you think her actions have already sealed her fate? If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Because trust me, this story is far from over.